Yes, this is Getting Up with Gareth Hall on this Friday, the 10th of March. What a big show we have for you. We'll find you winners right across the country, especially in Melbourne and Sydney on a Saturday afternoon. Another magical Group 1 day coming up there on a Saturday. So Dean Evans from Winning Edge Investments is not far away. Nick Ashman will join us. We'll catch up with Chris Nelson to preview Brisbane. Peter Anthony to preview the meeting in Perth. And also Mitchy Lewis to go through his best bets there in Adelaide on the Parks track on a Saturday, and we'll find you some winners today as well with bag of tips across the three codes. But let's start our Friday mornings as we do these days in autumn with a man that is just seeing them beautifully at the moment from Winning Edge Investments, Dean Evans. Good morning, Dino.
Good morning, Gareth. How are you going?
Good, thank you, mate. You must be able to, you'll be owning Sydney the way you're tipping at the moment.
Oh, look, we certainly potted a few last week, but all three favourites of the main races we covered went down. Ashcabin, as I said, I don't think he could run a mile, and it proved that right. I think he might prove a 1,200-metre horse. And he's a good horse. He could be an Everest-type horse, but he doesn't run the mile, and the sectionals kind of suggested that. Jacano, I thought, would get too far back, and he was certainly ridden a lot colder than anyone expected. But he was also a question mark over the mile, and I think he'll prove to be a 1,400-metre horse. And then Imperatriz, I just thought was a bit short in the market as well, and Artorias managed to blow us there. And then our best in Sydney Cylinder, you've got the massive price on the Golden Slipper. Yes. He won again for us, and I do think he's absolutely going to be the one to beat in the Slipper.
Let's try and find a winner then tomorrow. We'll start off with the Newmarket Handicap, and I hope you're right about Sindler as well. But this is one of my favourite races. I've said it all week. The famous handicap sprint race down the straight there at Flemington over the 1,200 metres. You got Private Eye at $7.50, Marzu at $16. I Wish I Win at $4.20. Rockin' Horse, the defending champ, she's at $23. Ballers at 40-1. Belinda Patina at $19. September Run at $29. The Astrologist at $61. Lofty Strike at $9. Chain of Lightning at $29. Front Page at $19. Snappers at 100-1. Star Patrol with some gear changes at 20-1. Swat's That? Blinker's First Time at 50-1. In Secret, she's at $4.20. And then Buddha's Notches at $12. Geez, there's some nice horses at a big price here, Dean.
Yeah, look, it's always a great race, isn't it, Gareth? 16 horses thundering down the Flemington Straight in handicap conditions. And now we've seen some great winners: Bivouac, Sunlight, Redkirk Warrior, Brazen Bow, Blank and Rupee, Hay List. So, it's a brilliant race. Looking at the sort of historical profiling, I always like to do, sort of the last 11 years, 9 of the winners have been either second up or third up. 9 have been between the 14 and 21-day break. Interestingly, for such a big 1,200-metre race down the straight, Gareth, 9 of the 11 winners have settled in the first 4 and running, which would probably surprise most. 4 of the winners have been 3-year-olds. So they have a pretty good record there, widespread of weights and odds with, 100-1 winner last year and Rockin' Horse. But usually horses are in good form, beaten last start within 3 lengths or winning 9 out of the 11. 16 career starts or under 8 of the 11, which again, interesting that, the younger horses and the talented horses have a great record here. And the other interesting fact, going down the straight is barriers 3 to 8 have produced 7 of the last 8 winners. And we've had some boilovers, including Rockin' Horse last year, where we saw the inside, rail side produce 7 of the 8 winners, and they sort of up in the first 5 home last year, all on the rail side. So, there'll be one sprint race before the Newmarket starts, and that'll be interesting to look at how that plays. But that's been an interesting factor down at Flemington Straight for this race for quite some time. There'll be a decent speed. I think Front Page and Snap will go really quick early. And then in terms of the ones that we're looking at to try to be on speed, the Astrologist, Marzu, Star Patrol, Chain of Lightning, Rockin' Horse, and In Secret all sort of forward of midfield. It's hard to really nail one down, but I definitely want to go for value in this race. I think, in terms of the favourites, I'm having to bet against them. I just think I Wish I Win. I was super talented and was a huge run of Lightning, but I just have him mapping back sort of second last. And I just think he's going to get so far back, and it's hard to win this race from so far back. Private Eye, I think, is, just a superstar sprinter as well. Obviously second in the Everest, won the Gill Guy by 2 lengths first up last prep. But again, he sort of settles in the last 3. Buenos Noches is another one who I think naps last, and I just think she's going to get too far back. And then the other one you got on the market is In Secret, who, if they're assessing her on a Group 1 Coolmore win down the straight as a 3-year-old, then she's a huge chance. But, she was okay winning first up at Group 2 level, and, third in the Surround was an okay run. I think the difference was in the Coolmore last year off a 1,400-metre run off the Golden Rose. She sort of had a 35-day break to sort of freshen back to 1,200 here. She's only got 2 weeks. That's sort of the better horses, but I just think from sort of a map perspective and a profiling perspective, they've all got challenges, and I just don't see value in their prices. So I'm actually going to sort of lean you into 3 at all the double figure odds, Gareth. I think Bella Nicotina, she probably should have won the Moira last prep. She raced wide no cover and ran second beating ahead for us, and she absolutely bolted in the winner Manicato for us by 5 lengths. She placed down the Flemington Straight multiple times. She ran a really good third first up on the Lightning. I'd be extra keen if the track had more give. And I'm never a fan of Barrier 1 down the Flemington Straight, but she's just a really good mare, and I think she's going to win one of these Group 1s down the straight, I think, and she's a big chance. Marzu, it's Redkirk Warrior won this first up, and Rock and Horse came up with a 56-day break, so it's not easy to win this race first up, but he was a Group 1 winner over 6 furlongs at Durban. He was an excellent third in the Everest last year. He was wide throughout and still hit the line really strongly. Then second in the Winners' Stakes of Private Eye. I just think he races on pace, rates really well, and even though he's drawn on the outside on the grandstand side, if the grandstand side is the side that the winner comes from, then I think Marzu is a big chance. And the other one I thought was a bolter was Rock and Horse. He won the race last year. He won the champion sprint in the spring again. His track distance, he just excels here. He maps well. He's drawn on the rail side, so they're all positives. He was a little bit playing first up, but I think she's proven to be a real Flemington horse. I just thought at the big odds again that she might be the one that everyone misses for the third time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was on Vossi and Brandy this morning, the Sydney breakfast show on SEN, and I just thought, like Marsu, we had a chat to Peter Snowden yesterday. He's just at too big of a price, really. I agree with you with the first up record of horses in new markets isn't great, but at $16, you have to have something on. And Rock and Horse needed that run, according to Mike Moroney in the Oakley Plate, had that setback before the Lightning, but he says that she's as good as she was heading into the new market last year. And we're getting, $34 with Bet365 last night. You can get, $23 for her. What about just before we get your best in Melbourne and take a quick break here, Dean? Lofty Strike. What do you make of this young, exciting galloper for Julius Sandu?
Just absolutely flying. Was prep, won the Group 2 Rubiton, and then his second in the Oakley Plate was outstanding as well. The sectionals he's running are exceptional. He's a very, very good colt. My two concerns with him were just his record down the straight. Fourth in the Coolmore, seventh in the Champion Sprint. Just hasn't sort of blown them out of the water in his two down the straight runs. So that was sort of just my query there at the price. And Craig Hewitt is, I'm finding in the really big races, he's exceptional at running placings. And he's riding really well, but he doesn't seem to knock him over. So I thought it's sort of the $8.50. I'm just having to risk Lofty Strike, but I wouldn't be surprised if he runs a really big race again. And Julius Sanders doing an amazing job with him, and he's going to win plenty of nice races with him. He's just a very, very good colt.
Shaftesbury's Avenue won with the top weight in 91, and then a couple of champs have won since. Well, Haley's was a very good horse, and then Black Caviar, of course, carried 58. Do you think he's good enough first up to win with 58.5 on his back?
Look, Private Eye is, he's a superstar horse. On ability, he's got the ability to win. I just think first up and mapping as far back as he does in a new market, they're just the two concerns from a historical perspective. But he'll run a big race, and he's again going to be a huge chance in the TJ Smith.
Do you have a best outside of the new market there at Flemington tomorrow there, Dean, in Melbourne?
The horse I'm keen on in the size produce, the Group 2 1400 for the 2-year-olds is Jubanenko. Chris Beggs had a big opinion of this horse for some time, and I just thought her run in the Blue Diamond was just exceptional. Settled right out the back, basically last. Was held up a fair bit in the straight. There were a few horses that were marked as unlucky, but she was really stiff. She was sort of didn't really get up much of a run until sort of the 300 metre mark, and then just really charged home and ran some very nice late sectionals in the Blue Diamond. Looks like the 1400 metres is going to suit Craig Williams. Hops on board, and I think she's just a pretty talented filly who could blow those away.
So Jubinico for Chris Begg, Craig Williams in the size, which is race 5, horse number 11, or race 4, I should say, horse number 11 at $5, bet 365. And Dean Evans's bets there in the Newmarket, Bella Nipotina $19, bet 365, Marzoo 16, and Rockin' Horse at $23. This is Giddy Up. You with Gareth Hall on this Friday morning, thanks to Bet365, the world's favourite online betting company. Dean Evans from Winning Edge Investments is with us, as he always is on a Friday morning. We'll take a break and we'll come back and preview the Group 1 at Rose Hill, the Coolmore Classic.